got NBA free agency all over. Everybody's talking about Kyrie, Kevin Durant. You got other big names. You got Cat re-signing. You got Steph Curry talking about this. You got Andrew Wiggins possibly, going somewhere. You got Bradley Beal. You got John Wall jumping to the Clippers, allegedly. I mean, there's so much NBA free agency. When you think about the Wolves, how do they get involved in this? Because this is the way I look at it with Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving reminds me of a woman or a man that broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend because they thought I had something better coming up. And now they've dealt with other people, and now they're like, you know what? I should have just married you from the start. And Kyrie now wants to go back to LeBron. And LeBron, being the true pro that he is, he's like, look, babe, come on back. You know where your bread was buttered the best. Let's come back home. That's what Kyrie reminds me. But that's just me. With the Timberwolves in this, I said Tyus Jones, he already re-signed, but you can still do a sign and trade. That is not off the table. But I think the Timberwolves have to move on from D'Angelo Russell. If they can get Kevin Durant, I would, like I told A-Rod on Twitter, I would throw everything at Kevin. I would say, hey, look, man, I will go get J-Lo to come back to me. And she will go to dinner with us every weekend. Like, I don't care what you have to do, but I would get Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't know if Kyrie mentally has it anymore. He needs LeBron to be big brother, but that's just me. What do you guys think the Timberwolves should do?
I'm going to say something controversial.
Uh-oh.
I don't want Kevin Durant.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't want Kyrie. I don't want to give up what it's going to take, because that means you are giving up organic pieces that you've homegrown, pieces that are more likely to be part of your franchise down the road. And I look at what a lot of these championship teams or very competitive teams recently have done. Milwaukee was entirely organic in the way that they built that club. And that Milwaukee is very similar to the Timberwolves in that they are upper Midwest. They are not a destination location, but they got guys that played well together and they kept them around for a long time. They built something. I think the Wolves need to have that long-term approach. When you've got a Towns who's grown up with this team, Ant's grown up with this team, you build around that core knowing that they're going to be here now for many years together. And you don't give up on those role player assets, those draft picks, because that's the glue that holds your team together. If you get Kevin Durant, you might get him for a year or two, but then it's gone, and then you've given up so many assets to get him. I just think that when you're a team like the Wolves who can't just snap their fingers and find talent, I think you need to hold on to the assets you have so that you don't jeopardize your future, because we know what it feels like to be stuck for a decade in the middle of nowhere in basketball purgatory with the Wolves, and it's not a fun place to be.
I'll let Reggie go next. Before I do, Steph Curry did it best. Hey, if you get Kevin Durant for 2 years, you get a ring probably for one of those. So, again, do you organically just keep being 6th, 5th, or 4th seed, or do you just go out there and get plastic surgery and go win a championship for 1 year and then be terrible for another 5 years? I give me Kevin Durant with Cat and Anthony Edwards, and let's go win a championship in the next 2 years, and then we can suck for 5 years because we got a ring. So, but maybe after you win, more guys want to start coming. Who knows? And then you suck, you might get the first round pick. Could be a Monty Bates in 2 years. I don't know.
You know, it's interesting because the cool part about it is KD is signed for 4 years, so you will get 4 years of KD unless he gets disgruntled after 1 or 2, which, it happens because these NBA players are interesting guys. But I think it would be cool, but I think it's a pipe dream to get Kevin Durant. And not because I don't want him, Sam, but I think it's because I don't think they have the assets to pony up to get KD. Like the Nets aren't just going to give him up. I was looking at SportsCenter yesterday, and Woj was talking about like a historic return for Kevin Durant, because this is a guy that, has battled his way back from the Achilles injury and is back to being one of the top 3 players in the league. And you probably have to give up a guy like Cat or like you got to give up like a big player. Like they're not just going to be like, oh yeah, just give us D'Lo back. We'll take him back and some picks and we, it'll be all good. Like, no, they're
3 first round picks at D'Lo.
No, they're not going to do that. Like they need some actual guys that, are surefire things to take over and be key pieces as they try to rebound from this terrible, terrible mistake and decision, it seems like, of bringing Kyrie and KD to Brooklyn. And so they need a little bit more, and I just don't think the Timberwolves have what they're looking for.
Can I just say that the Nets continue to botch bringing in like
Oh
these
my
veteran super
gosh.
teams with the KG Paul Pierce era, which went horribly, and now the Harden, Kyrie, KD. I mean, I know
Wow.
they were one shot away from going to the finals a couple of years ago when the Bucks beat them. Or no, it was the Eastern Finals, I think. But anyway, they were on the doorstep with that group, but your personalities are just so mercurial at that age when you've got guys with that much money and that much experience that sometimes it's hard to organically build those super teams, right? That's why it's amazing how LeBron has kept, for the most part, except for the Lakers last year, having
This
a
is
lot
what
of
I'll say
success.
though.
Yeah.
Kyrie's is if not for COVID, I think the Nets are a better team. Like COVID completely destroyed their chemistry because everybody was on board to do what they need to do to be there for the season, except for Kyrie. And we know Kyrie is like a waiting to exhale character because he's out here burning sage on the stage before the Celtics game to ward off bad energy. He's out there, talking about the earth is flat. I mean, he's the dude where like all like, tan outfit looking like he's a character from a Little House on the Prairie or something, with thong sandals and like straw in his mouth. Like that's Kyrie is just different. Like he's a millionaire, eccentric millionaire. Like he's like the guy from Virgin Airlines. Like he's out there. So when you have that personality with strip club James Harden, and I don't want to talk to nobody, Kevin Durant, it's the weirdest three brothers you could ever put in a room. And honestly, let's be real, the vaccine just completely destroyed any chance they had to become a unit. And that's why James Harden left. Still got Ben Simmons there. But again, we can't forget Ben Simmons could be the point guard for this team. Like you talk about a guy that does not want to shoot but can dunk and slash. Hey, we didn't need guys taking threes at inopportune time. We needed a guy to go dunk. And maybe Ben Simmons, like that's the whole joke. Like he had layups and he would pass them up. Maybe he gets with a bunch of young guys that are going to like hug him and bring him in like Cat and Anthony Edwards and say, hey, dude, if you're willing to pass us the ball 25 times a game and he's 6'9", like he can guard anybody on the court. Hey, maybe that's the trick. Maybe it's not KD. Maybe it's Ben Simmons because that could be a better point guard than D'Lo. Luke,
yeah, I'll just to wrap up here again. You guys kind of already hit on it. I'm with Ron, man. Until you get a ring, fans will do anything, scratch and claw, give up the farm, kind of push the chips all in, a la what Vikings and Brett Favre in 09 say, hey, we got a low window. Let's try to go get a ring, even if we got to blow the whole thing up after a few years. Now, like Reggie and Sam kind of touched on, probably a pipe dream. I don't know NBA trade values as well as you guys, but if you can't do it for 3 firsts and D'Lo, sounds like it's probably not realistic because you can't rob Peter to pay Paul and get KD while giving up a guy like Cat or Ant, obviously. So that's not going to work either. It does remind me kind of the prime peak Rick Spielman offseason days right now. What Conley's doing, peppering in a lot of 1-year, 2-year deals, retaining your core guys like he always did, Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks, Daniil Hunter, and trying to build through the draft. Now, I think they're at 15 guys right now on the roster, so even if they do sign somebody, they got to trade somebody or make a move there too. But yeah, likely the only other big splash, I think, that would come in these next, few days or week while free agency continues is they'd have to trade somebody. And I think, again, we're all just kind of sitting here waiting. Is D'Lo going to be the one that's traded? We'll see.